Welcome, everyone, to the All Sorts podcast. We're the place where we just love opening doors to discovery, inviting you to explore, well, pretty much all sorts of things.
That's
Whether you found us on YouTube, caught a thought over on X, saw something on Instagram, or maybe connected on Threads, you are absolutely in the right spot for another deep dive.
And today, we're diving into something really sparked by you, our listeners. The, well, surprisingly complex world of soap making.
Yeah, it really is. You sent in a great mix of info.
Totally. We've got sources covering regulations, the whole look and feel with design, where you get your ingredients, sourcing, color, and even the business side of things.
So our mission for this deep dive, we want to sift through all that, pull out the most crucial bits, the really interesting stuff.
Yeah, give you a solid but, digestible grasp of what really matters if you're thinking about crafting and maybe even selling soap.
Okay, let's get into it. Starting with something super important, maybe not the most glamorous bit, but essential. The regulations for selling handmade soap, specifically in the UK.
Absolutely fundamental. You can't just whip up some soap and sell it. The sources really stress that compliance is key. We're talking good manufacturing practices, GMP, and getting proper safety assessments done.
Right, GMP and safety checks. And I saw mention of a product information file, the PIF. Sounds pretty official. What's that all about?
It really is the cornerstone. Think of the PIF as like your soap's official dossier. It's passport to being sold legally.
Okay.
It pulls together everything to prove it's safe and meets the rules.
Yeah.
Your exact recipe, how you make it step by step, that crucial safety assessment report, the CPSR.
CPSR, got it.
Yeah. Proof you're following the UK's ban on animal testing, evidence you've notified the authorities, even exactly what's on your label. It's all in there.
Wow, okay, so it's like a complete record for each soap.
Yeah.
And GMP, good manufacturing practices. That's about how you make it, right? Keeping things safe and consistent.
Precisely. GMP basically means you need a clean place to work. You need to write down exactly how you do everything, every step.
Document everything.
Exactly. Yeah. And keep track of all your ingredients, where they came from. It's the bedrock for quality and safety, making sure every bar is up to scratch.
Makes sense. Now, that safety assessment report, the CPSR, you mentioned it was crucial. Sounds like a big hurdle.
It's a legal must-have, yeah. Before you can legally sell any soap, a qualified person, an assessor, has to review everything and write this report. It basically confirms your soap is safe to use.
And what do they need to see for that?
Well, you need your full ingredient list, and you have to use what are called INCI names.
INCI.
Yeah, it stands for International Nomenclature of Cosmetic Ingredients. It's the standard way to look ingredients, especially important for allergens. You also need the exact percentages, a detailed rundown of your making process, proof you follow GMP, and some tech specs like the soap's pH level, stability tests, that sort of thing.
Okay, INCI names, critical for transparency. And allergens. What's the deal there?
Huge focus on allergens. The UK rules say if your soap has any of the 26 specific allergens above a certain tiny amount, you have to list them on the label.
What kind of amounts are we talking?
For rinse-off products like soap, it's 0.01%. For leave-on things like lotions, it's even lower, 0.001%.
And these allergens can be in natural stuff too, right? Like essential oils.
Oh, absolutely. Things like linalool, limon, benzyl alcohol, amyl cinnamol, these often pop up in essential oils and need declaring if they hit that threshold.
Right, so even natural doesn't mean allergen-free.
Sure.
Okay, so you've got your PIF drafted, your CPSR sorted, allergens declared. What's next?
Then you have to officially tell the authorities. You notify the Office for Product Safety and Standards, the OPSS, using their online portal, the CPNP.
CPNP, okay.
Yeah, a cosmetic product notification portal. You have to do this for every different soap recipe or variation before you sell it. And it's really important to remember the UK has a strict ban on animal testing for cosmetics. Ingredients and the final soap, no testing.
Good. A really vital ethical point built right into the rules. Okay, let's shift to what the customer actually sees and uses the label, what absolutely has to be on there.
The label is so important. It's not just branding. It's about safety and letting people know what they're buying. Yeah. You need that full ingredient list, descending order by weight, using those INCI names.
Especially for the allergens.
Especially for the allergens, yes. You need the net weight, grams or ounces usually, your name and address or whoever's responsible for selling it. And really key, any warnings, like if something might be irritating.
Clear, upfront info. Any practical tips for the label design itself, like making it last?
Yeah, the sources suggested easy-to-read fonts, good color contrast so it's clear. And because it's soap, waterproof labels are definitely a good idea. You don't want it smudging off first use.
Makes sense. So, broadly speaking, in the UK, Soap you sell is treated like a cosmetic legally. What are the main takeaways for someone starting out, legally speaking?
It really boils down to taking responsibility. For safety, first and foremost.
Yeah.
For accurate labeling. For following good manufacturing practices. Getting that CPSR is non-negotiable. You also need to sort out the business basics. Register your business name, maybe get local permits, do that CPMP notification we talked about. And seriously, get product liability insurance. It's crucial protection.
Insurance, okay. Good point.
Yeah. And finally, just keep an eye on the rules. They can change, so staying up to date is part of the job.
Okay, so the regulatory message is loud and clear. Prioritize safety, be totally transparent, and follow the rules meticulously, from the first ingredient to the final sale. Got it. Now let's move into something maybe a bit more fun, the creative side. Let's talk design.
Yes. Soap making really is this wonderful blend of science like chemistry and pure artistic expression. And how your soap looks, it's not just fluff. It really adds to the whole experience for the user, makes it feel special, great for gifts too.
And it seems like the sky's the limit for making it your own, right? You can really put your stamp on it.
Totally. You can create soaps that reflect your own style, design unique labels, make really personalized, thoughtful things. It's a great outlet for creativity.
And it's not just about standard bars anymore, is it? People are getting really inventive.
Exactly. Innovation is a big part of standing out. People are experimenting with less common ingredients, maybe things that give unique textures or benefits.
Like what?
Well, we saw mentions later of things like avocado, coconut milk, but also using technology like 3D printing for custom molds or creating really sharp digital label designs.
Yeah.
And exploring different forms of soap, luxurious liquid soaps, fluffy whipped soaps, even solid shower gels are becoming popular.
Cool. The sources you looked at mentioned Pinterest for packaging ideas. What kind of things stood out?
Oh, Pinterest is a goldmine for visual inspiration. Lots of DIY packaging ideas. You see everything from really clean, minimalist looks to rustic, natural vibes, and super colorful, bold designs too.
So lots of styles.
Yeah, and the fact that search terms like soap package design or natural soap packaging are popular shows that people really care about this aspect.
And there's a specific mention of La Savonnerie Divine for artistic designs.
Yes. Their work was highlighted as a great example of pushing the artistic boundaries. Really intricate patterns, amazing colors. They also apparently use interesting, sometimes food-grade ingredients like avocado, honey, coconut milk, not just for skin benefits, but as part of the whole design concept.
Very cool. So for design, the takeaway seems to be, find that sweet spot between working well and looking great, use customization to make it unique, and don't be afraid to try new things with ingredients, shapes, and how you present it.
Spot on.
Okay, fundamental to all this is what actually goes in the soap. The ingredients. Let's talk sourcing, specifically ethical sourcing. Seems like a big deal now.
It really is. It's gone beyond just being a niche concern. Conscious consumers increasingly expect it. Ethical sourcing means getting your materials in a way that's responsible, sustainable, thinking about the people involved, the environment, fair wages, protecting ecosystems, knowing where your stuff actually comes from, transparency.
Right. What are the upsides and maybe the downsides for a soap maker trying to source ethically?
The upsides are huge, really. You're supporting fair conditions for workers, promoting practices that don't wreck the environment, and building trust with your customers. People increasingly want to buy from brands that share their values.
Makes sense. Any downsides?
Well, it can be more challenging. Sometimes the ethically sourced option might be harder to find, it might cost a bit more, and maybe ensuring you can always get it, supply chain consistency, can be trickier sometimes.
Okay. So how does a soap maker try to make sure they are buying ethically? What should they look for?
Certifications can help. Things like Fair Trade or Rainforest Alliance give you some assurance. But it's also about doing your homework. Research your suppliers. Ask them questions about their practices.
They proactive?
Exactly. Transparency is key. If a supplier is open about where their ingredients come from and how they're produced, that's usually a good sign. It benefits everyone in the long run, makes the whole supply chain more sustainable.
And this isn't just about feeling good, right? Does it affect the actual soap quality?
It often does, yeah. Responsibly sourced ingredients are frequently higher quality, grown or produced with more care. And like we said, it can really differentiate your business. It attracts those customers who are specifically looking for ethical products.
So, key things for sourcing. Actively look for ethical and sustainable suppliers. Push for transparency. And really understand how those choices impact your soap's quality and your brand's image.
Absolutely.
All right, let's add some visual flair. Let's talk about coloring soap. specifically using natural colorants.
Yes, this ties in nicely with the natural and ethical themes. Using things from nature to color soap is a fantastic alternative to synthetic dyes, and there are a few ways to do it.
Okay, how?
Well, the simplest is probably mixing your natural colorant like a powder right into the soap batter when it hits trace. That's when it starts thickening up.
Great trace.
Or for swirls and patterns, you can scoop out a bit of that trace soap, mix your color into that small amount, and then swirl it back into the main batch as you pour it into the mold.
Ah, cool technique.
And for some things, especially certain herbs or roots, the best way is actually to infuse them in your oils before you even start making the soap. It helps extract and set the color.
Interesting. Your listener sources gave a whole list of natural options. For black, activated charcoal seems popular.
Yeah, activated charcoal is great. Depending on how much you use, you can get anything from a pale gray to a really deep, almost blue-black. Plus, sometimes it adds a bit of gentle exfoliation.
And for browns, look like quite a few options there. Cinnamon, beetroot, cocoa.
Loads. Cinnamon powder gives a light brown, but just be aware some people find it irritating. Beetroot powder, well, it sounds like it should be pink, but the lye usually turns it more grayish brown, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
Cocoa powder gives lovely browns, light to dark. Ground cloves can make a dark brown. And coffee grounds give dark brown speckles and exfoliation, but usually no coffee smell in the final soap.
What about greens? Spirulina, alfalfa.
Yeah, spirulina, which is an algae, can give a really nice green. Chlorophyll works too. Dried and powdered alfalfa or dandelion leaf can be added at trace. For others, like burdock or comfrey leaf, infusing them in the oil first is often better, though comfrey can sometimes be added at trace too.
Okay, so lots of possibilities. Are there any major pitfalls or things to watch out for with natural colorants?
Definitely. The biggest one is that lye, the sodium hydroxide used in soap making, is highly alkaline and can drastically change colors, like the beetroot losing its pink.
Right.
Also, some natural colors can fade over time, especially with light exposure. Spirulina and turmeric are known for this sometimes. Infusing them in oil first can help stabilize the color.
So oil infusions are key for some color.
They can be really helpful, yeah. Also, grinding herbs finely enough can be tricky. A good mortar and pestle helps, or buy them pre-powdered. Oil infusions work well with coarser herbs too.
Any other tips?
Cocoa powder might leave a faint cocoa scent. Turmeric really needs that oil infusion to hold its color well. Some people add spirulina to the lye water or infuse it in oil to help the green last longer. And don't forget clays.
Clays, like kaolin clay.
Exactly. Clays are fantastic. They give stable colors that don't tend to fade much. They can lighten the soap base, which helps other colors pop, and they can improve the texture for swirling. Lots of benefits.
Great tips. So for color, lots of natural choices, but be ready for lye-changing things, potential fading, consider oil infusions, and definitely explore clays. Now, the final piece of the puzzle, turning this craft into a business.
Yeah, making soap can actually be a really viable small business.
Yeah.
The startup costs aren't necessarily huge compared to some other ventures. You can potentially get good profit margins. There's a definite market for handmade, unique products.
Especially natural ones now.
Exactly. And it really suits people who enjoy both the making part and the entrepreneurial side.
But passion isn't enough, right? You need a plan.
Oh, absolutely. A solid business plan is crucial. It forces you to think everything through. It's usually essential if you need funding, and it helps you spot potential problems before they happen.
The source material broke down the key parts of a soap business plan. Can we run through the highlights, starting with the executive summary?
Sure. The executive summary is like the elevator pitch for your whole plan. Super concise overview what your business is, the opportunity you see, your products, basic marketing and sales approach, key financial numbers, and what you need, especially if you're looking for investors.
Okay, quick snapshot, then the business overview.
This gets into more detail about your specific business, what kind of soap you make, your legal setup, where you're based, who owns it, your mission, maybe a bit of history, and where you want to go in the future.
Got it. Then market analysis, understanding your playground.
Critically important. Who are your customers? How big is the market? Is it growing? Who are your competitors? What are they doing well? What are their weaknesses? And how will you be different?
Differentiation is key.
Absolutely. Plus, looking at trends like that demand for natural organic and understanding the regulations we already talked about.
Right. Next up, products and services. What exactly are you selling?
This is where you detail your product line. Bar soaps, maybe liquid soaps, lotion bars. Are they organic, scented, what makes them special. You also talk about quality control here, how you test pH, follow GMP, etc., and your packaging and labeling choices, making sure they're compliant and maybe sustainable.
Makes sense. Then sales and marketing strategies. How do you actually get people to buy it?
Yeah, how are you going to reach people? What's your unique selling proposition, your USP? Is it that they're handmade, all-natural, unique scents, cool designs, eco-friendly packaging?
So what makes you stand out?
Exactly. Then your pricing strategy, how you'll market social media, ads, email, content, your sales approach, direct sales online, markets, maybe wholesale, and how you'll keep customers coming back, loyalty programs, samples, good service.
Lots to think about there. What about the operations plan, the how it gets done part?
This covers the practicalities. Staffing, do you need help? Training, your day-to-day processes, making the soap, managing inventory, handling orders and shipping, customer service, admin tasks, and what equipment you need.
Okay, the engine room and the management team section.
Basically, who's in charge? Introduce the founders, any key managers, their experience, what's the structure, how are people paid, any advisors helping out.
Right, and the money side, the financial plan.
Crucial. You need projections, profit and loss, what you expect to earn versus cost, cash flow when money comes in and goes out, a balance sheet showing assets and liabilities, your break-even point, how much you need to sell to cover costs, and clearly stating if you need funding and how much.
Phew. And finally, an appendix.
Yeah, just a place to put all the supporting documents, market research details, legal papers, detailed financials, maybe product photos or brochures, anything that backs up the main plan.
Okay, that's a comprehensive plan. If someone does need funding to get started, what are the typical options?
There are a few routes. Many start by self-funding, using savings. Bank loans are traditional, though can be tough for startups. SBA loans, Small Business Administration loans, are specifically designed to help small businesses.
Okay.
Crowdfunding is popular now, raising small amounts from lots of people online. Angel investors might invest in early stages. And sometimes there are specific small business grants you might qualify for. Worth exploring all avenues.
Good overview. So, key business takeaways. You absolutely need a detailed plan, understand your market and what makes you unique, figure out solid marketing and sales tactics, and research your funding options thoroughly.
That's the essence of it. Turning that cert-making passion into a sustainable business requires that strategic thinking.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, it really strikes me how all these different threads, the rules, the creativity, the ethics, the colors, the business strategy are all woven together in soap making.
It really is interconnected, isn't it?
Yeah. It shows what goes into creating not just a product, but something potentially really meaningful and lasting.
Definitely. And it kind of makes you think, doesn't it, about the potential we all have to take an idea, a creative spark, and turn it into something real, whether it's soap or something completely different.
True.
And it also highlights, I think, how important it is to support those small businesses that are trying to do things ethically and sustainably. It helps build a better market for everyone.
Couldn't agree more. And speaking of support and exploration, if this dive into soap making has sparked your interest, maybe got you thinking, we'd love it if you'd like, share, and subscribe to the All Sorts podcast right here on YouTube.
Yeah, help us grow this community of curious people.
Absolutely. And don't forget, we've got a whole back catalog filled with other deep dives on all sorts of fascinating topics. Dip in whenever you need a dose of discovery.
There's bound to be something else that catches your interest.
And finally, to keep the conversation going, see what we're up to, follow the All Sorts podcast on X, Instagram, and Threads. We really enjoy interacting with you all there.
We do indeed. So, until the next time we dive deep, keep creating, keep exploring, and keep asking questions.